My manager sabotaged my internship. After I stood up for myself in a meeting, lied to HR about my performance, tried to isolate me, but I documented everything. So she got fired while I got hired. In my junior year of college, I managed to land this amazing internship. I signed an NDA, so I can't go into more detail, but it was an amazing opportunity. And since I was studying marketing, internships were crucial to getting a job. And for the first few weeks, everything was running smoothly. My boss Claire even told me that if I kept up the good work, I could definitely score a job with them in the future. So one day, when Claire asked me if I could put together a competitor's ad strategy and present it in one of the company meetings, I almost jumped with excitement. You see, this was a huge opportunity. The vice president of marketing would be there, and if I impressed him, a career opportunity would practically be guaranteed. The weeks leading up to it were exhausting. It was the biggest, most high-stakes project I had worked on, and if I spent any less than 12 hours a day working on it, then I'd be so riddled with guilt that I wouldn't even be able to sleep. I would sometimes hear Claire on the phone, bragging to her coworkers about what an amazing manager she is, about how well she trained me to take initiative. This always made me tense up, because by this point, I had been thrown into the deep end. No one was even checking up on me anymore, including Claire. She even told me to do less work, because looking at just the surface-level trends was enough. But I figured it didn't matter, because if I was brag-worthy, it meant I was doing a pretty good job. But then things escalated. In the days leading up to the meeting, Claire started treating me like I was a piece of gum stuck to the bottom of her shoe. Except, it was only when someone important was nearby. "Oh my gosh, can't you interns ever do anything by yourselves?" she'd randomly blurt out as the vice president passed by our cubicle. Or, "You lost another file?" But as soon as they passed by, she'd go back to talking normally, like nothing ever happened. I genuinely thought the stress of the meeting was making her tick or something, because when we were alone, she was kind, wholesome, the type of woman to memorize your coffee order and bring it in on a Monday morning without you asking. But because I still felt like a powerless intern, I never brought it up. It was only during the meeting that everything finally clicked. We had preparatory time beforehand, where I ran her through all my findings, but I was paying more attention to her reaction than my project, and I could tell she was impressed. When I was finished, she even patted me on the shoulder and told me I was going to be a valuable asset to the company. I could feel my face light up, and my heart beat with excitement. I went to the bathroom beforehand, did some vocal exercises, and drank a lot of water. I was ready, more than ready. But as soon as we walked in, I realized all my work had been for nothing, because as I began to present, Claire rushed me to my seat and told me she would be presenting, not me. My face flushed with embarrassment. I immediately complied and sat down. At first, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I assumed it was just procedure. But then she finished. Everyone was nodding, and some even had smiles on their faces, which is basically the corporal equivalent of cheering with joy. Then the VP spoke. "Wow, Claire, really strong work. I wasn't expecting this." "Thanks," she replied whilst beaming with pride. I thought it was important to dig deeper than surface-level trends. I was filled with rage. I had put over 200 hours into that project, and now she was taking the credit. But before I could say anything, someone else spoke. "How did you manage to gather all that intel?" I felt the corners of my lips threaten to form a smile. Meanwhile, Claire plastered on a huge plastic smile. "Oh, you know, nothing like good old hard work." The answer seemed to please them, but I wasn't allowing it, and that's when I spoke. "Claire, please tell us how you did it. I'm sure I speak for many of us when I say that I'm feeling very inspired by you." A few people nodded in agreement, and suddenly the room went silent.